The primordial killing beast, iron-blooded warrior, he's here. It is said that in the North American plains of the 17th century, there lived an Indian tribe, the Kurman Ki tribe. They are good at martial arts and good at riding and shooting. KASHA is a member of the tribe. Although she is a girl, she has a bear heart. The women in the tribe are responsible for digging wild vegetables every day, but she likes hunting. KASHA is busy and lazy, and always hides in the woods to practice hunting skills. Her flying skills are strong and powerful. When she saw a white-tailed deer in the woods, KASHA was excited. In order to hunt this deer, KASHA asked the dog to cooperate with her to hunt. But when she was about to start, the sound of the sky alarmed the white-tailed deer. KASHA was so angry that she wanted to hunt this deer. When she caught the opportunity, KASHA made a flying talisman. Unfortunately, it was still a little bit worse. KASHA looked back, but found that the dog had been trapped by the trap. She didn't understand what it was in front of her, but fortunately, she helped the dog get rid of the trap. When she was confused about this, the sound of the sky caught her attention. She ran over and saw the light of the sky like lightning. When she looked back, KASHA told her brother Dako about this. She also said that she had seen the prediction of the Thunderbird. KASHA said that she had prepared for the trial, but Dako didn't think so. After all, what they have to face is to hunt down their creatures. After the iron-blooded warrior was sent to the ground, the spaceship left the Earth, and her trial will start from here. Back to the tribe, KASHA brought the harvest of the day to her mother. She is not only good at hunting, but also learned some medical skills from her mother. However, her mother didn't want her to be a hunter. She felt that it was her duty to dig wild vegetables and give birth to children. The stubborn KASHA didn't compromise. At this time, Dako came to her mother. The mother and daughter's insistence was resolved. Then KASHA helped her mother find herbs. She felt bored. She didn't expect that the tribe was hunting a lion. When she heard this news, KASHA immediately got up. The tribe began to look for the traces of the prey in the forest. The sudden sound of the sound made the man beware of behind him. Then KASHA ran out. Dako saw this and said a few good words. In order not to embarrass Dako, KASHA made up her mind to hunt this lion. However, when they were on the move, the iron-blooded warriors were also active in this forest. Following the traces of the journey, they found a trace of blood. As expected, not far away, KASHA found her injured companion. From the wound, it was obvious that the lion had hurt her. KASHA quickly used herbs to heal her companion. The others made a stretcher. It was getting dark. Dako wanted to continue hunting, but KASHA expressed her concern. Why didn't the lion bite people to death? It seemed that something scared the lion and left the nest. Dako didn't take it to heart. She just thought it was a lion. When KASHA and the tribe arrived, they sent the injured companion down the mountain. But halfway she found something strange. Turned out to be a skin snake. KASHA suddenly became alert, and the footprints on the ground can be seen. The animal was very large, but the tribe thought it was just a bear. They had to hurry. The tribe told KASHA not to turn back, but KASHA didn't think so. She was worried that her brother would be in danger, so she turned back to the forest. However, on the way, the companion behind her suddenly disappeared. KASHA suddenly went crazy. When she walked to the tree, Dako pulled her down and said the lion was nearby. KASHA quickly told her brother about her discovery, but she was busy catching the lion. Dako didn't care what her sister said. KASHA thought she could lure the bear with the bait, but the companion thought the real hunter should take the initiative. When the two were at odds, Dako decided to try her sister's method first. After putting the bait on the ground, KASHA and her companion went up the tree first. The younger brother scared KASHA. He said the lion would tear her flesh and bite her bones. As a result, the next second, KASHA was scared. When she reacted, the lion bit her companion to death. Then she ran to the tree. KASHA picked up the spear and confronted the lion. At that moment, she was forced to have no way out. At that moment, the roar of the lion in the dark made KASHA fall down. When KASHA woke up again, she had been sent home by her brother. Dako returned to the forest and continued to hunt. When KASHA was still worried about her brother, Dako carried the lion back to the tribe. Her bravery was recognized by the chief. Everyone surrounded and praised the warrior. This made KASHA envious, but she thought there was something else in the forest and hoped her brother would pay attention to it. But Dako didn't think so. KASHA was not reconciled. Even if her brother didn't help, she still decided to go back to the forest to look for it. Dako thought her sister must have been angry because of defeat. The next day, KASHA was excited by the girls. Seeing everyone going out to dig for wild vegetables, KASHA was even more reluctant. She didn't want to dig radishes all day to give birth to children. In order to become a real hunter, KASHA made up her mind secretly to complete this hunt on her own. Shortly after her death, KASHA began to search for traces of the iron-blooded warrior. In front of a tree, she found a silver-colored bloodstain and footprints left on the ground. KASHA guessed that the opponent must be big. At this moment, a wild wolf found his prey, but his action had been locked by the iron-blooded warrior. Seeing that the wild wolf was going to succeed, the iron-blooded warrior took away his prey with one blow. Faced with the provocation, the unselfish wild wolf rushed up. As a result, the wild wolf was stripped of his skin by the iron-blooded warrior. At the same time, in order to make the hunter more determined to deal with it, KASHA put a rope around her belly. Her belly also had more room to play. On the other side, the iron-blooded warrior turned the wolf's head into a stand, but the barking of the dog caught her attention. Then the iron-blooded warrior opened his stealth. Finally, KASHA found dead cows on the grassland, and each of them was stripped of their skin. Did the iron-blooded warrior do it? KASHA, who was careful, found a snowman. It seems that there are still a group of hunters here. Shortly after, the iron-blooded warrior found Kasha's footprints by the river. At this moment, Kasha did not realize that the danger was approaching. Suddenly, she found a knife mark on the tree. She just wanted to go up and check it. As a result, she fell into the swamp in the next second. Kasha, who was trapped, could not escape for a moment, and the iron-blooded warrior followed and chased the cow. Kasha tried to use a flying axe to catch a support point. It was already successful. Unexpectedly, it broke as soon as she tried to use force. Kasha was about to fall. At the critical moment, the last axe still saved her. After escaping for a while, Kasha was relieved. Finally, the dog came back, and with Kasha, she found the gray bear by the river. Judging from the wound on her face, it should have been caused by the fight with the iron-blooded warrior. Kasha pulled the bow and arrow, but she hesitated for a while. As a result, the bow and arrow suddenly broke. The sound of the bow and arrow led to the gray bear. Kasha hurriedly remembered the bow and arrow. She saw the gray bear coming. At the critical moment, the dog took revenge for Kasha. Later, Kasha chased up. However, the bow and arrow were useless for the gray bear. Kasha hurriedly jumped into the river to avoid danger. She hid in a pile of dry wood. The angry gray bear wanted to rush in. As a result, she left in the next second. Kasha looked back. Unexpectedly, the gray bear and the air fought. When she was shocked, the iron-blooded warrior killed the gray bear in one move. This scene made Kasha doubt her life. She was scared and hurriedly jumped into the river to escape. The iron-blooded warrior also noticed Kasha's existence. Not long after the iron-blooded warrior was thrown away, Kasha met a group of people in the woods. They were sent by Dake to find her. At this moment, Dake was on the other side of the small mirror. Kasha told her companion the monster she saw, but everyone didn't believe what Kasha said. Kasha, who was stubborn, wanted to leave. As a result, she was stopped by her companion. They were fighting. Kasha tried to resist, but the weak Kasha was still stopped by her companion. Unexpectedly, the iron-blooded warrior saw the whole thing. She found a powerful prey. The iron-blooded warrior would not miss this challenge. She attracted people's attention with small animals. Dake saw it and killed it with one shot. Kasha expressed her concern. Who made the animals run to everyone? Dake didn't believe it. She went up and took the prey. As a result, in the next second, 3 red dots locked her. Dake was confused about this, but then she was killed by the iron-blooded warrior. Her companion died on the spot. Everyone was terrified. Everyone was shocked. At this time, everyone noticed the action of the iron-blooded warrior pulling out the sword. At a glance, the iron-blooded warrior's stealth was destroyed. She, half-transparent, exposed her form. Dake challenged herself. As a result, she was killed in the next second. Kasha went to her companion to find a knife. When she was trying to untie the rope, another companion was killed by the iron-blooded warrior in front of her. Then the iron-blooded warrior picked up the knife and killed another one. Kasha knew she was no match for her. She turned around and ran away. After running around, she met her companion, Duanfu Chaozong. Under her command, they decided to wait for the rabbit. But in the eyes of the iron-blooded warrior, their whereabouts were exposed. Then Dake was locked up by Guangmiao. They had no choice but to run away. But the backward Dake was killed later. Kasha rushed into the forest all the way, but she stepped on a trap. The iron-blooded warrior picked up the chain on the ground. It seems to be a high-level goods. At this time, a group of colonists appeared behind Kasha. Then Kasha was knocked out and brought back to their camp. Not long after Kasha woke up, she found the skin on Fatty's body. She soon reacted that all those water buffalo were killed by these people. Fatty found a translator to ask questions. The other party took out a fluorescent bloodstain and asked him if there was any clue about the iron-blooded warrior. He also said he could avenge him. Kasha refused to cooperate. The authorities gave a negative answer. However, Fatty did not give up and used Dake to threaten. Looking at the brothers being tortured, Kasha could only explain everything. Then the colonists tied the 2 brothers to a tree. They who were ambushed around wanted to lure the iron-blooded warrior into the trap. But the wolf was not greedy and the yellow sparrow was behind. The iron-blooded warrior behind had already launched a sneak attack. When the colonists regained consciousness, this place had become their grave. Then the brothers saw the iron-blooded warriors hunting. Dake thought it was over, but Kasha did not think so. She thought the iron-blooded warrior was not interested in the sparrow, because when she was trapped by the trap, the iron-blooded warrior did not take action. At this time, the iron-blooded warrior accidentally stepped on the trap. The colonists grabbed her with a shout. However, the iron-blooded warrior who escaped in the next second was caught by the speed of light. While the iron-blooded warrior was distracted, the people behind attacked with gunpowder. As a result, the iron-blooded warrior's shield was reduced to no damage in minutes. The iron-blooded warrior was enraged and opened his sword. No matter how many people surrounded him under his command, they all became cold corpses. Dake launched a new round of attack with the gunpowder team, and the 2 brothers, while the 2 sides were fighting, quickly broke the rope with the trap clip on the ground. The iron-blooded warrior then entered the command for avoiding weapons, and left a surprise for the people before leaving. Everyone went to take a look. Only Fatty was alerted to the danger. Shortly after KASHA escaped, the bomb exploded. The two brothers split up. KASHA went back to the camp to find the dog, while Dake was going to find the horse. Seeing that his dog was going to be killed, KASHA rushed up directly. After a fierce fight, KASHA successfully subdued the colonists. The injured iron-blooded warrior was urgently healing himself, and KASHA was doing the same thing. However, when KASHA was distracted, the translator controlled him with a gun. The opponent didn't want to kill KASHA, but asked for KASHA's help, because his foot had been cut off by the iron-blooded warrior. In exchange for help, the translator promised to teach KASHA how to use gunpowder. The two sides had a very pleasant deal. KASHA soon learned to use gunpowder, and the translator was also cured. Suddenly, a bell rang in the forest. KASHA chose to hide his tactics, and the translator could only embarrassingly pretend to be dead. After the iron-blooded warrior appeared, he searched the surroundings. The sharp KASHA found that the iron-blooded warrior had not found the translator who pretended to be dead. As a result, in the next second, the inadvertently trampled translator and screamed. Hearing the scream, the dog suddenly ran over. Just when the iron-blooded warrior aimed the oar, horse-riding Dake smashed his mask. The brother successfully attracted the attention of the iron-blooded warrior. KASHA, on the other side, quickly loaded the gunpowder gun. When KASHA fired, the gunpowder gun didn't react. The smart Dake hurriedly howled. The iron-blooded warrior distracted the attention, and Dake also successfully attacked him. But this injury was a piece of cake for the iron-blooded warrior. The two brothers just wanted to fight back, and the iron-blooded warrior opened his stealth. But it was just a blink of an eye. Dake died in the hands of the iron-blooded warrior. In order to let his sister escape, Dake used his last remaining strength to entangle the iron-blooded warrior and escape to the river. KASHA was so sad that he couldn't pull himself up. After calming down, he actually found Fatty. KASHA wanted to kill him with a gunpowder gun, but he stopped for a moment. He came up with an idea. After KASHA knocked Fatty out, he cut his leg with the iron-blooded warrior's weapon. After Fatty woke up, he picked up the gunpowder gun and wanted to take revenge. But Fatty didn't realize that he was the one who was taking revenge. Sure enough, under the attraction of the fire, the iron-blooded warrior, who was chasing after him with passion, came here. And KASHA lowered his body temperature by wetting his whole body, so he successfully avoided the iron-blooded warrior's detection. When Fatty was executed, KASHA successfully attacked from behind. He picked up the iron-blooded warrior's mask and quickly escaped from the scene. Using the mask as bait, the iron-blooded warrior successfully entered his trap. KASHA attacked again from above, but he was thrown away by the iron-blooded warrior. With the help of the dog, KASHA escaped again. However, the iron-blooded warrior followed closely and flew over. KASHA, who reacted quickly, picked up the war hair on the ground and cut off the iron-blooded warrior's arm. After all, it's the iron-blooded warrior's arm. After all, it's the iron-blooded warrior's weapon. KASHA didn't get it, but KASHA still had a hand. He wanted to lead the other party to the swamp, but the iron-blooded warrior bit him to death and didn't let him escape. He was about to be beheaded. KASHA pulled out his teeth and stabbed him back. At this moment, the iron-blooded warrior was badly injured. While he was asking for his life, KASHA and the dog cooperated and tied the iron-blooded warrior. He dragged the iron-blooded warrior into the swamp for a month. However, the battle was not over. The iron-blooded warrior stood up again. In order to end this fierce battle, the iron-blooded warrior pulled out his gun. However, KASHA had long been aware of the function of the mask. Activate the weapon, the mask will open the tracking lock. No matter how the bullet flies, it will hit the target locked by the light shot. KASHA relied on his intelligence and courage to finally defeat the invisible alien monster. And he also completed his own hunting trial. With his own trophy, the glory of this moment finally belonged to KASHA. At first, I thought the setting of the story would be monotonous. But after the story came out, I was very surprised. The core of the iron-blooded warrior was very eye-catching. The transformation of identities between hunters and prey made the dramatic effect full. And the iron-blooded warrior's sense of hunting and killing, primitive and barbaric, lacked more armor protection, and showed more power. What do you think of this iron-blooded warrior? That's all for this episode. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.